One day, James had been sent to go do 3 jobs around the island. He thought they'd be important, like passenger trains, or special goods to the mainland. But what he didn't know was that they'd be boring and dirty. His first job was taking some milk tankers to the dairy for ice cream during the summer. He wasn't happy with this at all, and boasted about how he would rather be pulling express coaches other than these dirty little tankers. "Come on then," said James's driver. "Let's get it over with quickly and then make our way down to the next job." James accepted this and then started to get ready to back down onto the tankers and set off to the ice cream factory. After he was coupled on, he soon set off and headed down the line and over the bridge towards the ice cream factory. But what James didn't know was that the bridge's supports and bolts holding it up weren't very stable, and the bridge creaked under him as he rolled over and onto the other side, but James didn't know about this. Soon he arrived at Marin, where Edward was waiting in a siding, but Edward had bad news for James. "Oh, James, it's good that you're here. I have something important to tell you. You must be careful when going over the bridge and not use it. It's very unstable, and it could collapse when you go over it with one of your next trains." But James wouldn't listen. He thought Edward was trying to play tricks on him and make him go slower and not be able to finish quicker. "Oh, Edward, you silly engine, what makes you think I'll listen to you?" said James. "I know what I want to do. What I want to do is finish my job and then go back and enjoy the rest of my day." And with that, he puffed off down the line through the ice cream factory and then was getting ready to go to his next job. After he had delivered the milk, he soon set off for his next job, which was at the coal mine. Soon James had arrived at the coal mines and backed up to the trucks with a big bump. He didn't want any of their nonsense that day, and soon pulled away hastily so that he could finish his second job and get ready for his third. James had to deliver the coal to Ellsbridge Station so that when trains came in, they could refill their tenders or bunkers with coal so they could continue on with their jobs. Soon the bridge was starting to make more noise and sounds as James rumbled over the other side, but he heard it this time but paid no attention to it, as he thought that it was just the wind playing tricks on him. Soon James left the trucks in a siding and then was getting ready to go to his final and last job of the day. His last job was taking flatbeds of logs down to the logging station so they could be chopped and therefore used for new sleepers under the rails so that way the old ones could be replaced. Soon he had found the train of logs and had buffered up to them and then set off over the bridge. But this time, he wouldn't be so lucky as to cross it. But what James didn't know was that the bridge couldn't handle all the weight of the logs, and as he was crossing, the bridge had finally collapsed and James had fallen in with the logs down under, and then he was stuck. James was surprised of how he had fallen down from the bridge and was now laying in the field down below. He didn't understand, and then he realized what Edward had said, and he remembered that he said that the bridge wasn't safe and not to use it as much, and then he felt bad about what he had said to Edward earlier, and that this time he should have listened. And then he waited for the breakdown train to be called. The only engine available was Edward. He came to the rescue, and then had brought James back to the yard, where he shunted him into the works, and then pulled out and then reversed alongside so he could talk with James. Edward then explained that he had tried to tell James about what was going to happen, and that he didn't listen. And James then understood that he should have listened, and yet he shouldn't have been so careless. Then Edward thought it would be good enough if he had told James all of the other lines that he could take besides the bridge, so that way when he was fixed and the bridge was still under repairs, he could go on those lines, that way he would not have incidents in the future. James thanked Edward for all of his kindness and that he was sorry, and so Edward was happy about this, and then left James to see him in the morning when he was repaired, and then take him back to work, and so he could help him. Next morning, James felt better, and he saw that Edward had come back to see how he was doing. James told him that he felt much better, and that he was happy that Edward had been so kind and caring the other day, and that next time he would listen in future. Edward was glad that his friend was okay, and that he really appreciated all the tips and advice that he was given. And then, from then on, the two engines became best friends. And then, they both set off for work that day, and then they truly were really useful. The end.